Hey there, welcome back to video number 3 in this series of 5 clips in regards to the Virtual Freedom book and how you can get started with virtual staff in regards to running, supporting and growing a business. So in the last video we talked about the different ways or the different places that you can find your VAs and how to put them to work. In this particular video I'm going to be talking about how to actually hire those VAs in the right way so that you minimize any mistakes or problems that you might encounter along the way. So I want to start this very quick clip here in regards to talking about my 3 components of a really good hire. Now I mentioned this in the book on a couple of occasions, but basically they come down to 3 main things. The first thing is skill set and experience level. The second thing is the ability or the willingness rather to invest in themselves as employees, and the last thing is just their overall attitude and whether you've got a good vibe with them or not. So let's break them down one by one a little bit so I can give you as many tips and techniques and tactics as possible. So the first thing is in regards to their skill set. Now I know it sounds pretty obvious that when you say to someone, well, you're looking to hire someone, make sure they've got the right skills you need. But you'd be surprised, because of the arm's length of working with somebody, you might have a really good interview, you might have a really good cover letter come to you, and you might maybe glaze over the skill sets and the relevant experience because of that good interaction or communication that you've had with somebody to begin with. I suggest you do not do that under any circumstances. When you're hiring somebody, particularly for your team, you need to make sure that they definitely have the skill sets needed. And you've got to make sure, without a shadow of a doubt, that they have the level of experience that you need. If you need a intermediate web developer, for example, they've got to have at least 2 to 3 years of experience developing and coding websites, right? If you need someone that's a really good graphic designer, you have to make sure that they've been working with Photoshop for 5+ years probably. So that's the skills and the experience level. Secondly is the willingness to invest in themselves. And this goes down to the one thing that I always suggest that you ask on your interview. And that is, what have you done in the last 6 months to better yourself and your skill sets? If I can't get a positive answer out of the person that I'm interviewing for the role at that point, it's usually the end of the interview, to be very honest with you. And when I say positive, I mean, you know, something like, oh, I've done a XYZ course at the local community college, or I took this particular course on lynda.com or udemy.com, or I've read this and this book. You know, it doesn't really matter what it is. I just want some reaction of positivity from them in regards to wanting to continually upgrade their skills, right? So that's the second thing. So you've got the skills and the experience, and secondly, you've got the overall willingness to better themselves and invest in themselves as potential hires. And then lastly, you've got the attitude. Now, this is the other thing that I always ask on my interviews is, what do you know about me and my company? Again, if they can't give me a half-decent answer at this point, the chances are they're not going to get hired. And even if they do get hired, I'm going to be very cautious in regards to what I put them to work to do. And the reason why I ask that question is I'm not on the ego boost or anything like that. The fact of the matter is, we're in a very online world nowadays. You can Google anything about anyone. I mean, you type in Chris Ducker, I have a Wikipedia page, for Christ's sake, right? So if they can't find out just a couple of quick things about me, what I'm all about, my business is, before they get on an interview to me, how are they going to work, you know, when I start giving them tasks, right? So that's the other thing, is their attitude. Are they in line with you, your company culture, what you're all about in regards to the way that you're building and running your businesses? If they're not, follow your gut. If you think about it logically, you're way more likely to regret all the times that you said yes and things have gone wrong, rather than when you say no and things go wrong. Your gut will very rarely let you down. It certainly hasn't let me down too many times, and I'm pretty sure it'll be the same for you as well. So that wraps up this video in regards to the 3 components of a good hire and the type of questions that you should be looking to ask when you're interviewing. And remember, in the book, there's 10 questions that I suggest that you ask on every single interview. Make sure you use the bulk of those questions. They are tried and tested over a number of years of hiring hundreds and hundreds of employees, both physically to come and work for me within my facility, as well as virtually to work from home and from all around the world as well. So in the next video, guys, we're going to be talking about managing and training your VAs from a day-to-day basis and all the things you should and shouldn't do with that. I'll see you in the next video.